Hello and welcome back to the English Grammar Mastery course. My name is Sai Sarath, and in this lesson, we will be exploring the different forms of verbs. Imagine trying to navigate in a huge and busy city without a map. That's what it's like trying to communicate in English without a solid understanding of verb forms. Verbs are the lifeblood of the language, and mastering their various forms is essential for clear and effective communication. In this lesson, we will explore regular and irregular verbs as well as the different verb forms such as the base form V1, the past simple form V2, the past participle form V3, present participle form V4, and the present form which is used with third person singular subject V5. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to wield the power of verbs with confidence, making your writing and speaking more dynamic and engaging. Before we start, just remember that if you have any questions at all, you can ask me those in the Q&A section or email me. I will get back to you personally as soon as possible. So without any delay, let us begin our lesson. First of all, let us learn about the two types of verbs that we did not learn in the types of verbs lesson. There are two more types of verbs which are very important to understand in order to learn about the verb forms, the regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs are those that follow a consistent pattern when forming the past simple V2 and the past participle V3 forms. Typically, regular verbs add ed to the base form V1 to create both the past simple and the past participle forms. Take a look at these words: talk, work, play. To create the past tense of these regular verbs, we simply add ed to the base form. For example, talk will become talked, work will become worked, play will become played. So simply put, regular verbs follow a predictable pattern when forming the past tense and past participle by adding ed to the base form. Irregular verbs are those that do not follow a consistent pattern when forming the past simple V2 and past participle V3 forms. The forms of irregular verbs can vary significantly and they often need to be memorized individually. Let's take a look at these verbs: go, sing, and write. The past tense and past participle forms of these verbs are not created by adding ed to the base form. Instead, they have unique forms that must be memorized. For example, the past tense of go is went and not goed. The past tense of sing is sang and not singed. The past tense of write is wrote and not righted. Similarly, the past participle of go is gone and not goed. The past participle of sing is sung and not singed. The past participle of write is written and not righted. So remember that irregular verbs do not follow a consistent pattern when forming the past simple V2 and the past participle V3 forms. Now that we have the basic understanding of regular and irregular verbs, let's delve into the various verb forms. Let's start by understanding the different forms of regular verbs. The first is the base form V1. The base form, also known as infinitive form without the to, is the most basic form of a verb. It is used in the present simple tense for all subjects except for the third person singular subject, which requires the V5 form. For example, walk, play, study. The V2 or the past simple form is used to express actions that happened in the past and are now completed. To form the past simple of a regular verb, you have to add ed to the base form V1. For example, the words walk, play, and study, which are the base form V1, will become walked, played, and studied. The next is past participle form V3. The past participle form is used with auxiliary verbs to form perfect tenses. To create the past participle form of a regular verb, add ed to the base form V1, just like the past simple form. For example, walk, play, study, which are the base form V1, will become walked, played, studied. The next is the present participle form V4. The present participle form is used with auxiliary verbs to form continuous or progressive tenses. To form the present participle of a regular verb, add ing to the base form V1. For example, the words walk, play, and study, which are of base form V1, will become walking, playing, studying. The next is third person singular form V5. The third person singular form is used in the present simple tense for the subjects like he, she, or it. To form the V5 of a regular verb, you just have to add s or es to the base form V1. In general, add s for most verbs and add es for verbs ending with hissing sounds. For example, walk will become walks, play will become plays, study will become studies, talk will become talks, fix will become fixes. By understanding these rules and forms, you can confidently use regular verbs in various tenses and structures, enhancing your English communication skills. Now let us understand how the irregular verbs are formed. As we learned before, the irregular verbs are verbs that do not follow a consistent pattern when forming their various forms. The irregular verbs can be quite challenging as their forms often vary significantly and need to be memorized individually. Despite this, irregular verbs are commonly used in English, making it essential to learn and understand them. Here is a list of frequently used irregular verbs with V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5 forms. Now let us learn about a few terminologies associated with verb forms. First, let us learn what infinitive verb forms are. Infinitive verbs are the base form of a verb and can be used in variety of ways in English. There are two main types of infinitive verbs, to infinitive and bare infinitive. The to infinitive is formed by adding the word to before the base form of the verb. For example, to go, to sing, to write. The to infinitive is often used as the complement of a verb such as want, need, plan, and try. For example, I want to go to the beach this weekend. Here, to go is the to infinitive. She needs to finish her homework before she can watch TV. Here, to finish is the to infinitive. The to infinitive is also used after certain adjectives such as happy, excited, glad, and able. For example, I am happy to see you. She is excited to start her new job. We are glad to hear that you passed your exams. He is able to speak 3 languages fluently. In addition, the to infinitive can be used to express purpose such as in order to or so as to. For example, I woke up early in order to catch the train. She studied hard so as to pass the exam. On the other hand, the bare infinitive is the base form of the verb without the word to. For example, go, sing, write. The bare infinitive is often used after modal verbs such as can, should, must, will, and might. For example, I can go to the party if I finish my book. Here, Go is the bare infinitive. He will sing a song for us later. Here, sing is the bare infinitive. The bare infinitive is also used after certain verbs such as make, let, and help. For example, she made me go to the doctor. He let us borrow his car for the weekend. I will help you carry your bags. Now let us learn about the gerunds. The gerund verb form is a verb that ends in ing and functions as a noun in a sentence. Gerunds are derived from verbs that are used in various grammatical structures like subjects, objects, and complements in the English language. They can represent actions or states and are particularly useful when expressing ongoing actions or activities. The gerund can act as the subject of a sentence representing an action or state. For example, swimming is an excellent form of exercise. Here, swimming is a gerund. The gerund can serve as the object of a verb or preposition, indicating the action or state related to the verb or preposition. For example, she enjoys painting in her free time. Here, painting is a gerund. The gerund is used after specific verbs such as enjoy, dislike, avoid, suggest, and others. These verbs are often followed by a gerund rather than an infinitive. For example, she suggested taking a break. Here, taking is a gerund. The gerund can function as a subject complement, providing additional information about the subject of a sentence. For example, her favorite activity is hiking. Here, hiking is a gerund. His main responsibility is managing the team. Here, managing is a gerund. By understanding the functions and usage of gerunds, you can effectively incorporate them into your sentences, enriching your English communication skills. Now let us have a quick summary of what we have learned in this lesson. In this lesson, we explored the various verb forms and their functions in English language. V1 or the base form, V2 or the past simple form, V3 or the past participle form, V4 present participle or gerund form, V5 the third person singular form. We also discussed about the infinitive and gerund verb forms and the unique functions and usage. Infinitives can serve as nouns, adjectives, or adverbs, expressing purpose, intention, or possibility. Gerunds function as nouns derived from verbs and can represent ongoing actions or activities. Okay, now that we have learnt about the different verb forms and also the gerunds and infinitive verb forms, let me give you a small practice exercise. You have to identify the verb forms in the following sentences and mention the type of verb form used. Pause the video here and try to answer these questions. You can get the answers in the material given below. By learning and practicing the various verb forms, you will be better equipped to express yourself effectively in both spoken and written English. As you continue to practice and refine your understanding of these forms, you will find that your ability to convey complex ideas, intentions, and emotions will improve, making you a more confident and skilled English speaker. So that brings an end to this lesson. After watching this lesson, you can go through the material given below and test your understanding through a quiz given there. I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you and happy learning.